The Department of Energy confirmed that up to 30% of your heating bill escapes through your windows. They also confirmed that a $1 sheet of plastic wrap cuts that loss nearly in half, using the same physics as a $500 double pane replacement. They published this, then they stopped talking about it. The average American household will spend $976 heating their home this winter. Electricity-heated homes will pay over $1,200. Propane homes, even more. 4 million families face having their power cut off entirely. 21 million households are behind on their energy bills right now. $23 billion in arrearages. Meanwhile, the HVAC industry collects over $62 billion a year selling equipment to solve a problem that a roll of kitchen plastic wrap partially solves for $1. By the end of this video, you will know exactly how to apply this technique, the science behind why it works, and the 40-year policy history that explains why no one told you. Welcome to the channel. This channel exists because knowledge that should be common isn't. Not because it was classified, not because it was proven wrong, because it became inconvenient for the people who profit from your ignorance. Every video on this channel recovers a piece of buried practical knowledge, verifies it against the best available science, and puts it back in your hands where it belongs. Subscribe if you want to stay ahead of what they stopped teaching. And I want to be clear about something. Not every buried technique is a conspiracy. Some are just unfashionable. Some were replaced by something genuinely better. Part of our job here is telling the difference. What I'm about to show you is not fringe science. It is not a life hack. It is thermodynamics. And it has a paper trail going back further than you think. The idea of heating your home with sunlight is not new. It is one of the oldest ideas in architecture. In the 5th century BCE, the Greek playwright Aeschylus wrote that only primitives and barbarians failed to build their houses facing south. Think about that. 2,400 years ago, a playwright considered south-facing construction so obvious that not doing it was a mark of ignorance. Socrates described the principle in detail. He explained how a south-facing overhang allows low winter sun to enter a home while blocking the high summer sun. The same principle, taught in architecture schools today, described by a philosopher who never saw a furnace. The Romans scaled it up. Their bathhouses featured massive south-facing windows to capture solar heat. Roman law actually included sun rights, legal protections, ensuring your neighbor could not build a structure that blocked your solar access. In China, solar orientation was integrated into cosmological and architectural traditions for centuries. Entire cities were planned around it. Now fast forward, 1973, the Arab oil embargo hits. Gas lines stretch around the block. Heating oil prices spike. The United States has a crisis. And for one brief window, the federal government responded exactly the way you would want it to. In 1974 alone, Congress passed 5 major energy bills. The Emergency Petroleum Allocation Act, the Solar Heating and Cooling Demonstration Act. Federal money began flowing into solar research, not just photovoltaic panels, passive solar. The science of designing buildings to heat and cool themselves using nothing but sunlight and smart design. In 1977, the Department of Energy was created. In 1978, the National Energy Act introduced solar energy tax credits, 40% on the first $1,000, 25% on the next $6,400. Real money, real incentive. The government was paying Americans to use the sun. Then came Carter. In 1979, President Jimmy Carter installed 32 solar panels on the White House roof. He declared that the nation's energy policy should aim for 20% renewable energy by the year 2000. He called energy conservation an act of patriotism. HUD awarded $1,396,000 to build 242 passive solar homes. Edward Masria published the Passive Solar Energy Book, which became a Bible for architects. Santa Fe, New Mexico, became the epicenter of a passive solar design movement. Pattern books circulated, homes were built, they worked. By 1980, the United States was the global leader in solar energy policy. Then everything changed. Before I go further, I want to tell you about the vault. What you're seeing in this video is the surface of the research. Behind every video on this channel is a deep archive. The full DOE publications, the peer-reviewed studies, the complete build plans with materials lists and measurements. The vault contains the complete collection, organized by category: passive solar design, window insulation techniques, off-grid heating systems, DIY solar collectors, no fluff, no filler, just the source documents and step-by-step instructions that took hundreds of hours to compile. The link is in the description. But you do not need the vault to use what I am about to show you. Everything you need for today's technique is coming up in this video. Stay right here. Now let us talk about what modern science says about a sheet of plastic wrap. Your window is a hole in your wall, not metaphorically, thermodynamically. A standard single-pane window has an R value of approximately R1. For reference, your wall is R12 to R19. Your window is losing heat at 12 to 19 times the rate of the wall right next to it. The Department of Energy confirms that 25 to 30% of all heating and cooling energy in a home is lost through windows. That is not an estimate from a blog. That is the DOE. Now here is where the physics gets interesting. When you seal a sheet of plastic wrap or plastic film over a window frame, you create a dead air space. That dead air space does three things. First, it resists conduction. Still air is a poor conductor of heat. The trapped layer between the plastic and the glass acts as an insulating barrier, the same principle used in double-pane windows. Your R value approximately doubles, from R1 to R2 for $1. Second, it eliminates convection around the frame. Most people do not realize how much heat escapes not through the glass, but around it, through gaps in the frame, around the sash, through cracked glazing compound. The sealed plastic film stops air infiltration completely. Third, and this is the part almost nobody talks about, it preserves solar gain. Glass and clear plastic both transmit shortwave solar radiation, visible light, and near infrared, while blocking the long-wave infrared radiation that heated objects inside your home emit back. This is the greenhouse effect. The same principle that makes your car blazing hot on a sunny winter day. Your window becomes a solar collector, not just a hole in the wall. This is critical. Thermal curtains block heat loss, yes, but they also block solar gain. Or a plastic film lets the sun in while keeping the heat from escaping. Energy Star actively endorses this technique. They provide step-by-step installation instructions on their website. The DOE confirms that plastic film achieves thermal performance comparable to double-pane glass. Build It Solar, an independent testing resource, documented that even bubble wrap applied directly to glass approximately doubles the R value of a single pane, and the science scales up. Researchers at the University of Washington Bothell built a solar air heater from soda cans. Aluminum cans painted flat black, mounted in an insulated frame behind a clear glazing panel. The sun heats the black metal. Air flows through the cans and into the room. Their capstone project measured a 28-degree Fahrenheit temperature rise and 2,246 BTU of heat output from an 18-square-foot collector. That is approximately half the heating load for a 125-square-foot room from garbage. Mamabamine and colleagues published peer-reviewed research in the journal Renewable Energy, documenting soda can solar heaters achieving temperature rises up to 128 degrees Celsius in active configurations. Abdul Rahman and colleagues conducted a comprehensive assessment published in the journal Energy, confirming the thermodynamic viability of these systems. Same physics. Passive solar gain through transparent glazing over a dark absorber. Whether the absorber is your floor, your furniture, or a column of painted aluminum cans, the principle is identical. So if the science is this clear and the government confirmed it, why is nobody selling this? Follow the money. The United States HVAC industry generates between $62 billion and $156 billion in annual revenue. Globally, the market exceeds $310 billion. Window replacement alone costs homeowners hundreds to thousands of dollars per unit. Every one of those industries depends on you not knowing that $1's worth of plastic wrap does part of their job. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is an incentive structure. No HVAC company has a reason to promote a solution that requires no installation, no service contract, and no equipment purchase. No window manufacturer has a reason to publicize that a $1 alternative achieves comparable thermal performance to their $500 product. No energy utility benefits from reduced consumption. And the historical mechanism that allowed this knowledge to fade is on the public record. Ronald Reagan took office in 1981. The solar tax credits were allowed to expire on December 31st, 1985. In 1986, Reagan's administration removed Carter's 32 solar panels from the White House roof. A Reagan official reportedly called them just a joke. Edwin Mises reported to have said the panels were not befitting a superpower. The panels sat in a government warehouse in Virginia. Until 1992, when a Unity College administrator in Maine heard about them, he stripped the seats from a school bus, drove to Virginia, and hauled the panels back to campus. Some of those panels are now in museums, including the Smithsonian, artifacts of a future that was canceled. Look at the countries that did not cancel it. Japan maintained its solar subsidies. Germany maintained its solar subsidies. Both now dominate global solar markets. The United States chose a different path, not because the science failed, but because the politics changed. If you have learned something in the last 10 minutes that could save you money this winter, that is what this channel does every week. Hit subscribe. And if you know someone among those 4 million families facing disconnection this winter, share this video. It might be worth more than you think. Stay right here, because before I show you how to do this, I need to be honest about the real limits. Here is what this technique cannot do. It cannot turn a badly insulated house into an efficient one. Plastic film on windows improves a terrible thermal barrier to a mediocre one. R2 is still far below R12. Your walls, your attic, your doors are all losing heat too. Manufacturer claims of 30 to 50% savings on your total heating bill are unrealistic unless you are also sealing ducts, insulating attics, and weather stripping doors. A realistic expectation for film alone is 5 to 10% total bill reduction. Energy Star rates window film at 2 out of 5 stars for energy savings. There are practical concerns. Condensation can form between the film and the glass, especially in humid climates. Over time, that moisture can promote mold growth on the window frame. You need to monitor it. The film is not attractive. Guests will notice. If you have a window designated as emergency egress, check your local fire codes before sealing it. The soda can heater has its own limits. It only works when the sun shines. It produces no heat on cloudy days or at night. A DIY unit has a lifespan of 5 to 10 years. Absorber surfaces can reach 200 degrees Fahrenheit or higher, creating a fire safety concern if combustible materials contact the collector. You need adequate clearance. The worst wall in your house is still better than the best window, but improving a bad window from terrible to mediocre is still worth $1. Now that you know what to expect, here's exactly how to do it. Materials for the basic technique. 1 roll of standard plastic wrap, approximately $1. Alternatively, window insulation shrink fit kit, $3 to $10 for multiple windows. Double-sided tape, a hairdryer, a utility knife or scissors, a clean cloth. Step 1, clean the window frame thoroughly. Not the glass, the frame. Use the cloth to remove dust and moisture. The tape needs a clean surface to bond. Step 2, apply double-sided tape around the entire perimeter of the window frame. On the frame, not on the glass, leave the backing strip on the tape. Step 3, cut the plastic film 2 inches larger than the window frame on all sides. You need overlap for a complete seal. Step 4, starting at the top, peel the tape backing and press the film onto the tape. Work from the center outward to minimize wrinkles. Pull gently for light tension. Do not stretch it tight yet. Step 5, work down both sides, peeling tape backing and pressing film as you go. Keep consistent light tension. Step 6, seal the bottom edge last. Ensure there are no gaps in the perimeter seal. Any gap defeats the purpose. You need a completely sealed airspace. Step 7, use the hairdryer on its low or medium heat setting. Hold it 2 to 3 inches from the film surface. Use continuous motion. Never hold it in one spot. The heat shrinks the film tight and removes wrinkles. If you hold it still, you will melt through the plastic. Step 8, trim any excess film with a utility knife. Here's the strategic insight that separates this from generic advice. Prioritize your north-facing windows first. They receive no direct sunlight. They are pure heat loss. Every north-facing window you seal is pure insulation gain with 0 solar trade-off. Or east and west windows are your second priority. South-facing windows are last. In fact, in many climates, you may want to leave south-facing windows uncovered entirely. They are your solar collectors. Sealing them reduces heat loss, but also reduces free solar heat gain. The math depends on your climate, your window size, and your sun exposure. For the soda can solar heater, the full build plan is in the vault. But here are the key specifications. You need 60 to 240 aluminum cans depending on collector size. A frame of approximately 3 feet by 6 feet, built from 2x4 lumber. Clear polycarbonate or tempered glass for the glazing. Rigid foam insulation for the back panel. High temperature silicone sealant rated to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Flat black high heat spray paint for the cans. The optimal tilt angle is your latitude minus 15 degrees. Total cost from salvaged materials under $50. $1. That is what stands between you and a warmer home this winter. 2,400 years ago, Aeschylus called it a mark of civilization to face your house toward the sun. Socrates described the physics. The Romans wrote it into law. In 1979, a sitting president of the United States put solar panels on the White House and called energy independence a patriotic duty. 6 years later, the next administration called them a joke and removed them. The tax credits expired. The research funding dried up. The HVAC industry grew into a $62 billion machine. And a technique that the Department of Energy confirmed, that Energy Star still endorses, that peer-reviewed journals have validated, that universities have tested and measured, quietly disappeared from the conversation. This was never classified, never made illegal, never technically refuted. It was simply allowed to become unfashionable. 300,000 buildings in the United States have passive solar features built since 1978. The passive house movement in Europe has documented 70 to 90% heating energy reductions. Experimental buildings around the world have achieved those numbers repeatedly. 25 million buildings were constructed since 1978 without any passive solar features at all, not because the science changed, Because the attention shifted. The DOE published it. The university tested it. The physics have not changed. The only thing that changed was who was paying attention. Next week, we go deeper into passive solar design principles that can cut your heating dependence by more than half without any equipment at all. Make sure you're subscribed so you do not miss it. And if this video gave you something useful, share it. Not for me, for the 4 million families who might not make it through this winter with their heat on. A $1 solution should not be a secret. Help me make sure it is not.